Giving our praises to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Harakah, Quadash. Double honors to all the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, and salutes to all the 144,000 elect out there. We are coming back at you with another lesson. Going to get into some of the Ezekiel 35 prophecy against Mount Seir. Ezekiel's assignment was to prophesy against the modern day. You got the modern day Mount Seir today, which are the so-called white people, right? Described as the Edomites, Mount Seir. And we're gonna read. We're gonna get into some news as well. We'll funnel it through the scriptures, but if we go straight to the point, in Ezekiel 35:5 says, "Because thou hast had a perpetual hatred and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword in the time of their calamity, in the time that their iniquity had an end. Therefore, as I live, saith the Lord Yahweh, I will prepare thee unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee." Right, man? Yeah, this is the time we're living in. Prophecy, right? Ezekiel had to prophesy against them, saying, because of that perpetual hatred, right, and shedding the blood gonna pursue them, right? And we know prophecy in Revelation, they're gonna try and hide, right? They've got their rocks prepared, their cliffs prepared, right? Their underground bunkers, luxury underground bunkers, all prepared to go underground and hide. And the main reason is, as we're reading right now, right? They've got places up there in the space. What they call them space. We've got a lot of junk up there, but they also got space. What they call it, man? Space, for want of a better word, space hotels, underground bunkers, underwater cities, space cities. So this is the reason why. If you want to know why, here's the reason. Therefore, as I live, saith the Lord God, I will prepare thee unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee, Sith thou hast not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee. Right, man? So this is what it's about. This is what's coming down the pipe. And the whole of the book of Ezekiel, the whole of the book is good. We're focusing, homing in on Ezekiel 35. And there's a reason, because this happened recently. This is fresh off the press. Around September 25. This is fresh off the press from CNN News. You may have heard about this. Missouri executes Marcellus Williams despite prosecutors and the victim's family asking that he be spared. All right, we're going to check this short clip out. Go and read some of this in CNN. This is, like I say, this is what the day is, Wednesday, September 2025, and he's going to go into it. Marcellus Williams, whose murder conviction was questioned by a prosecutor, right, died by lethal injection Thursday evening in Missouri after the U.S. Supreme Court denied a stay. The 55-year-old was deleted around 6 p.m. CT at the state prison in Bonnie Terry. Williams' attorney had filed a flurry of appeals efforts based on what they described as new evidence, including alleged base injury selection and contamination of the murder weapon. Prior the trial, the victim's family had asked the inmate to be spared. All right, that's where we're going with this, because this is what it is. Right, because they had, including alleged base injury selection and contaminated of the murder weapon. Prior to trial, the victim's family had asked the inmate to be spared. The U.S. Supreme Court action came a day after Missouri Supreme Court. Missouri Supreme Court and governor refused to grant a stay of execution. Right, they didn't want to put it back. Right. didn't want to put it back. The Supreme Court action came a day after Missouri Supreme Court and governor refused to grant a stay of execution. The High Court offered no explanation for its decision. You see that? I'm white and I say so. I'm white and I'm right. Didn't even give an explanation. So there you have it, Akim. Right? That backs up why we're looking at Ezekiel 35 and 5. That's the perpetual hatred. Because why? Because I feel like it. Because I want to. He didn't want to give no explanation for its decision, which is common for cases on its emergency docket. You have to give an explanation. It's commonplace, but for this, in this case, they didn't give no explanation because we feel like it, right? Of this docket, there are no noted dissent in 2 of Williams' appeals. There is no noted dissent in 2 of Williams' appeals. In a 3rd Justice Sanatory, Elena Gargan and these damn names here, Brown Jackson said they would have granted the request to pause the execution. William was convicted in 2021 of deleting Felicia Gale, a former newspaper reporter found deleted to death in her home in 1998. The more you look into it, you're probably going to see the racial aspect into it, no doubt. The more you look into it, let's go down to this part, and if you want to read the whole of it, I'm going to watch give you this little clip here, and then we'll funnel everything through the scriptures. All right, like I say, the more you get into it, you're going to see that hatred there, perpetual hatred. We're going to look into the word as well. Attorneys on both sides tried to intervene. Here you have it, Akim. William, he says there, let's read. Talks about the prosecutor. Williams' lawyers and St. Louis Country prosecuting attorney Wesley Bell filed a joint brief Saturday asking the Missouri Supreme Court to send the case back to adjourn it, right? To send it back or give a new date. There you have it. Even the prosecuting attorney Wesley Bell filed a joint. The prosecutor, the man that does the job of giving all the evidence to lock the convictee, or to lock up the what they call that, man. To lock up the what they call it, man. Oh, I'm getting a mental block right at the moment. The suspect. Right, to lock up the suspect. The prosecutor attorney Wesley Bell filed a joint brief Saturday asking the Missouri Supreme Court to send the case back to the lower court for a more comprehensive hearing on Bell's January motion to vacate Williams' 2001 conviction and sentence. The St. Louis Prosecuting Attorney Office, which handled the trial against Williams, urged in a motion that DNA testing of the knife used in the deleting might suggest Williams was not Gale's killer. But that effort unveiled at a circuit court, right? So the evidence, the new evidence, the DNA testing of the knife used in the deleting might suggest William was not the alleged killer, right? And this is the prosecutor. But that effort unveiled at a circuit court hearing last month after the DNA testing revealed that murder weapon had been mishandled prior to the 2021 trial. There you have it, man. Contaminated evidence. Contaminating the evidence meant to exonerate Williams and complicate his quest to prove his innocence. Enough said. The more you read into this, you're going to see that it was the centurions, the police people, them that was messing up the thing there, right? So you can understand. They contaminated the evidence. the law enforcement contaminated the evidence. The more you look into it, like I say, let's check out this clip and then we're going to get back into the scriptures.
With me now, St. Louis prosecuting attorney Wesley Bell, who is also running for Congress. Wesley Bell, you and I have spoken in the past when there was a chance that they would stay the execution, a fancy way of saying to continue for time to investigate the possibility that he was in fact innocent. What is your reaction tonight knowing that that did not happen and he is now dead?
Justice, the interests of justice were not served. And as a prosecutor, as you know, as a former prosecutor, our job is not to get convictions, it's not to collect stats, it's to bring justice. And for us, for the folks that in my office, Lathrop GPM, Matthew Jacoby, Elena McMullen, Teresa Hurla, my office, the Conviction Incident Review Unit led by Jessica Hathaway. We're talking about folks who invested blood, sweat, and now tears to spare his life because it was the right thing to do. If there's the shadow of a doubt with respect to innocence or the integrity of a conviction, at the very least, that individual should not be executed. And it is, to say disappointing would be an understatement. There were several opportunities on the timeline, if you will. Obviously, this case predated me originally. And so there's, 20 plus years ago, but throughout the appellate process and now once we have had an opportunity, there have been opportunities for decisions to be made that should have resulted in Mr. Williams' life being spared, and the system failed. It failed all of us.
You have to wonder why there was such a vested...
Yeah, Missouri governor ignores plea to spare Williams' life before execution. Didn't want to give an explanation. And she's asking this question is really the point.
Interest in the speed of this. After this was a murder from decades ago at this...
Decisions to be made that should have resulted in Mr. Williams' life being spared, and the system failed. It failed all of us.
You have to wonder why there was such a vested interest in the speed of this. After this was a murder from decades ago at this point in time.
The speed of it was what we're looking at right now, Ezekiel 35:5. Invested interest for the speed of it. And some say this was a modern day lynching.
Now that this was underway, why do you think there was the haste to do so? Given your office said no, the victims' families said no, he was not asking to be released.
There you go. Right? The governess, everybody's... But Satan, that's Satan for you, man. Let's go back to the scriptures. Enough said, right? Looking at this word here, right? So prophesy against Mount Seir, right? Let's go back to it. Because thou hast had a perpetual hatred and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword. That's it. The perpetual hatred. That's what we're looking at now. Why the invested interest? The question is the woman asked there. Why the invested interest and the speed to delete him? You saw. That's the guy. Williams. Marcellus Williams, the invested interest and the speed. And we know, as far as that Job 4:7 or 7:4, Most High got him. All man's going is of the Lord for things he done in his previous life and even in this life. But there is a point to be made. That's that. Let's go into it now. Of this perpetual hatred in the Google says, a dislike or something so strong that you would risk your safety to harm the object of your hatred. No, don't even care about reputation. Don't even care about their own laws. That's that strong perpetual hatred. This is what it's giving us here right now. giving us an example of that hatred. And this is Google. Yeah, you would be joyful in the downfall of your enemies, rejoicing in the failure and sorrows. And everything that, what does it say? Raise it, raise it. That's Psalms 37:4. They said, raise it, man. Right? Because that's the perpetual hatred. So, that's what we're looking at right now. There's another word here. We can get into some of these words right now. What is meaning of the intense hatred? Perpetual just means intense or strong, or ever, or everlasting. A very strong dislike or someone, or of someone or something. An intense hatred. There you have it. What does it say in the online's etymology? Increasing, exciting, continuing forever in future time. In the Old English says without end. Pronouncing the word, how you pronounce it? From the Latin, perpetualis. Something to that effect, how you pronounce it. But that's the point there. Existing indefinitely, continuing forever. Right, that's the online etymology. So she said, why the invested interest? Well, let's look at it. We get the answers. The scriptures give us the answers. That's where it comes from. That's really the point. I wanted to get it. Funnily, as our big brother say, we're funneling this through the scripture because that's where we get the answers. Prophesy against Mount Seir. We're going to read from the top. 1 says, moreover, the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Mount Seir and prophesy against it. Right, that's what we're doing now. Son of man, set thy face against Mount Seir and prophesy against it, and say unto it, Thus saith the Lord Yahweh, behold on Mount Seir, O Mount Seir, I am against thee, and I will stretch out mine hand against thee, and I will make thee most desolate. I will lay thy cities waste, and thou shalt be desolate. Thou shalt know that I am the Lord. That's the point right there. They're going to know the Most High, man. Why is that? Because thou hast had a perpetual hatred, and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword, in the time of their calamity, in the time that their iniquity had an end. Right, man? Right, and that's future prophecy. It's coming up. Right, and it happened as well when he said, raise it, right? That's that perpetual hatred. Didn't want to let us get across the border, right? That was their progenitor, their forefather, Esau. That was their forefather Esau, who hated his brother Jacob. That's in Genesis 25. You can get that. You can read up on that for those that don't know. Let's read on. Therefore, as I live, saith the Lord God, I will prepare thee unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee. Sif thou hast not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee. Right, once again. Right, they got the space hotels up there in space, preparing that to try and escape the judgment that's coming down the pipe. Right, that's the icing on the cake, and they know they're preparing for it. Right, they're preparing for it. Armageddon. They're well aware of that. Right, hence now they're getting all these floods, earthquakes, tornadoes over there. They got the Hurricane Helene. That's how you pronounce it. Helene, hell, and it's hell for them. Right, they lost all their livelihoods, their turn of the century, as they're describing it in their post aftermaths. Those that suffered the Hurricane Helene, and it's hell for them right now over there in North Carolina, the deep south, crying over their old money that they lost, their businesses that's all they've ever known. And that's another way in which the Most High can pursue them with the blood. Right, I done that video yesterday. Right, they can't escape. That's They shall build, but I will throw down. Malachi chapters 1 goes into that, and 4. They will build. That's the hurricane Elaine, man. Hitting them up, thumping them down, right? Blood pursuing them. Yes, if thou has not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee, right? And that's not even to mention that we're going to have the intercontinental ballistic missiles, the chariots of the Lord, right? You call them UFOs. They're going to be lasering you up when they return, right? And that's even before Yahushua, the grand finale, returns. You're going to be lasered up with missiles, right? You're going to be, whatsoever man soweth, that he shall also reap. Whosoever diggeth a pit, he himself shall fall into it. Right? So that's the blood pursuing them. So you ain't gonna, your hotels up there in space ain't gonna help you. Your underground hotels, the bunkers, right, in the cliffs and under the transatlantic, the oceans, the deep seas, wherever you hide in your underground, under the water, underground, in the sides of the cliff, that ain't gonna help you. All your luxury bunkers, blood gonna get you, right? I might as well get into some of this right now. Spirit's on me, right? Reading on. Thus will I make Mount Seir most desolate, and cut off from it him that passeth, out of him that returneth. Right, man? So, yeah, Ezekiel going in. Right? And if you know about Ezekiel's one fearsome prophet. Right? Yeah, you might say that stoic, he had that stoic spirit on him, man. He was able to endure a whole load of opposition, prior building him up, which the Most High put them on him to build him up, to make him more, as we know, right? As we know, to make us stronger. Because as the old saying goes, what can't delete you will only make you stronger. So yeah, he went through it. Ezekiel, stoic prophet, yeah. And I will fill his mountains with his slain men. In thy hills and in thy valleys and in all thy rivers shall they fall that are slain with the sword, right? Hence we're hearing about what the wars over there in the Middle East, man. Right? Was it over? The last I heard, over 4. That number must be all up there. They can't account for the amount of deletions that take place. But that could be a future video. Right, that's their men, right? Their mighty men falling, and they're going to be crying as well. Everyone going to return to their own place. Isaiah 13:13, and crying like women, they shall fall that are slain with the sword, and I will make thee a perpetual desolation, and thy city shall not return, and ye shall know that I am the Lord. So, might as well look at this word here. And then we're going to carry on. Perpetual, right? As we done know already, but what does the blue letter say? Perpetual. Get it, right? Long duration, right? There it is. Perpetual, from the old ancient time, forever, always. So yeah, that perpetual hatred that you have for us, Most High say, what does he say? You going Most High's got it for you, right? Because thou hast said, these 2 nations and these 2 countries shall be mine, and I will possess it. Where was I? Here it is in 9. And I will make thee perpetual desolation. So you want to bring hatred to the Yahshua Allah, the children of the Most High, right? Sons of God, you want to bring that perpetual hatred to you. Most High saying that's going to be a perpetual hatred to you, and it's going to happen. You're going to make it perpetual. Whosoever diggeth a pit shall fall into it. Whatsoever a man soweth, that he shall reap. And thy cities shall not return. And ye shall know that I am the Lord. Because thou hast said, these 2 nations and these 2 countries shall be mine, and will possess it, whereas the Lord was there. Right? And therefore, as I live, saith the Lord, Jehovah, I will even do according to thine anger and according to thy envy, which thou hast used out of thy hatred against them. And I will make thyself known among them when I have judged thee. Right? Most High saying your city is going to be desolated perpetually, which means continuous forever. Ain't it beautiful? The way the Most High, he says, whatsoever a man pit that he diggeth, he himself shall fall into it. You can't escape that. That's the law of the Most High. You're going to bring that perpetual hatred back against you. Hence, again, we're talking about all those, the Ezekiel, no, 2nd Ezra 16, that's what's taking place there right now over there in North Carolina. You understand? That Helene, Hurricane Helene, that's what's taking place. And 2nd Ezra 16 goes into that, how you really, that kind of sums it up. A sword shall go into thee, who shall turn it back. Famine, right? Famine, a sword, a lion. None of these things, once they're pursuing you, you can't turn it back. Hence, the same with the Most High's judgment. Once he's pursuing you, right, the judgments of the Lord, you can't turn it back. Enough said on that, man. Thou shalt know that I am the Lord, and that I have heard all thy blasphemies which thou hast spoken against the mountains of Israel. Right? That's that blasphemy, man. And hence there's the example we're looking at here. Right? This is a real good example here. Marcellus Williams, right? Deleted. As in way of reminder. Yeah, Marcellus Williams, whose murder conviction was questioned by a prosecutor, deleted by lethal injection Thursday evening. This is this last week gone. Right, the date on here, September. Right, last week gone. Right, lethal injection Thursday evening in Missouri after the U.S. Supreme Court denied a stay. Right, enough said. Right, and they didn't want to even give an explanation, as we read. No explanation. Yeah, you don't have to give no explanation. That's how we feel about you ninjas. Like I say, though, it's a judgment of the Lord, right? He says that during motion to vacate hearing against Prosecutor Williams, admitted that he had, that's it, the contaminated, right? Because the jury says there was a racial component to this. Attorney General Pott said there was a racial component to this, as we don't know. And what is that? Let's get back to it. Let's get back to it. They want to say racial, but we don't know what that is. All right, let's read on. Ezekiel 35:11 says, therefore, as I live, saith the Lord God, I will even do according to thine anger and according to thine envy, which thou hast used out of thy hatred against them, and I will make myself known among them when I have judged thee. What is that hatred? That perpetual hatred. There we have it. We looked at the word everlasting. The Most High saying that your cities and your towns going to be hated perpetually, which means it's going to get just everything's just going to keep coming and keep coming and keep coming until you get pummeled. They shall build, Malachi 1:4, but I will throw down. Thus saith the Lord. Reading on. Thus with your mouth ye have boasted against me, and have multiplied your words against me. I have heard them. That reminds me of Exodus chapters 7 and 3, or is it 3 and 7? He says, I have heard the cries, right? Now I'm going to let you go. Right? Let my people go, Pharaoh. Yeah, he said that to Moses. I have heard your cries. Now I will let you, via the 10 plagues. And he was led out of Egypt. And all of the gods of Egypt were belittled and humiliated. And on top of that, Pharaoh was humiliated. And this host of armies all drowned. Right? And you can get that in Ezekiel, in Exodus 14 and 15. So there you have it, man. Thus with your mouth ye have boasted. And Pharaoh is a real good example about the boasting. He was a real arrogant king. He was worshipped as a god, Pharaoh was. Right? Have boasted against me and have multiplied your word against me. Yeah, we got who is boasting today? Nero, right? Which brothers are breaking down as Trump. Today we got the campaign taking place right? With all the boasting on both sides. Kamala Harris boasting. She wants to take the place of the ninja woman. Be careful what you ask for. The Most High they ain't too happy with them ninja women, right? He ain't too happy. So be careful. You want to be looked at as a ninja woman. Be careful what you ask for. All right? So, thus with your mouth ye have boasted, Nero and Trump today. Nurum, back in the day, King Nero was the one that faked the burning of the cities, set the cities on fire, and blamed it on the Christians, which are the Israelites today, known as Christians back then. He blamed it on the Christians, so that the Christians, a lot of them had to be were used as torchlights, and hanged and lynched and all that. You got the lynching today. Hence, we're looking at this right now. Marcellus Williams using this as a teaching moment, breaking it down. The perpetual hatred that they had. All those examples, what Nero did, the modern day Nero, Trump, and he's setting the stage now too, right? With pure trying to prosecute the Christians and take away the freedom of speech, right? That's the famine of the word, right? The stage is being set. Thus, with your mouth ye have boasted against me, and have multiplied your words against me. I have heard them. So be careful what you boast about. Be careful what you ask for. Whosoever diggeth a pit, he himself shall fall into it. Right? And them luxury bunkers ain't going to help you from the blood that's going to be pursuing you. That's already pursuing you. Hence, they're walking out of the delegates are walking out of the speeches. Netanyahu speech, they're walking out. That's that hatred, intense hatred. Most are going to make you bear. Ultimately, you're going to make all of them nations bear. So, enough said on that. Thus saith the Lord, when the whole earth rejoiceth, I will make thee desolate. And we going to rejoice. As thou didst rejoice at the inheritance of the house of Israel, because it was desolate, so will I do unto thee. Right? You hear that? So will I do unto thee. Thou shalt be desolate, O Mount Seir, and all Adumia. Right? That's Greek for Edom. Right? So-called white people today. Mount Seir and all Adumia, even at all of it. And they shall know that I am the Lord. And that's the point. That's really the point. The Most High, Yahweh Shai, gonna get his glory. He gonna get his glory, right? He's at Isaiah 62 or 63. He gonna come. He gonna trample them down, right? As wine in a winepress. And that's the Most High, Yahweh Shai, getting his deserts. His just deserts, his glory, his justice. What he's been waiting for, which he's rightly earned. The Wada Yahweh Shima Shaf put the spirit on me once again to do this video. Just one more thing. We done look at it, but I want to see one more thing, and then we're going to end it. NKJV says, because you have had an ancient hatred, and that's another way of looking at it. Ancient hatred, right? Perpetual or ancient hatred, and have shed the blood of the children of Israel by the power of the sword at the time of their calamity, when thy iniquity came to an end. Your eternal, so it's described here as ancient, and ancient or everlasting, past, present, and future, ancient. Yeah, your eternal hatred for the people of Israel led you to butcher them. NLT. To butcher them when they were helpless, when I had already punished them for all their sins. Yeah. You further the affliction. Right? Most High is another way of looking at it here. We already punished us. Right? For all their sins. They were helpless when I had already punished them. But you wanted to butcher them. Right? Further the afflictions. Here's the last one here. Because you harbored an ancient hostility and delivered the Israelites over to the sword at the time of their calamity, the time their punishment reached its climax. Again, you wanted to further the affliction. But yeah, I like the way it's described here. Ancient hostility, ancient hatred, eternal hatred, and in so many words. So the water Bashim Ashai putting the spirit on me to do this video. Alright, hence that perpetual hatred described here with that man there. Alright, this is the man here. Alright, and it comes out, it comes through in this modern day example, their perpetual hatred. Enough said, the water once again to Bashim Ashai putting the spirit on me. Hope it was edifying to all the sincere elect out there. Until the next one.